Getting, I think I can hear someone. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can see Jayashri, and yes, it's here.
Hi, hello.
Hello. Somebody has a microphone in, it's good. Hmm.
Are we waiting for the others?
Yeah, we are waiting for others to join, and there was some problem with the Zoom for some reason.
I see.
And yeah, Narad couldn't connect microphone, but you can see me and hear me, yes, basically.
I can't see you. I can hear you. I think you can see me, but I can't see you
I
because your
can't see.
video is off on my screen.
Oh no.
Oh, wait, let me try.
Yeah, I see. Yes, it seems to be working. Maybe get out and go back in.
Okay.
Do you see the projection, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know if everybody else.
Interesting.
Audio.
Hello, Narad. Hi, good morning. I'm Jayashri.
Hi, Jayashri. Okay. It's good. Finally, I think we're connected. Thank you, Radhe. Wonderful. So we all can.
Yes.
There's Vladimir. No, I don't see your face yet, sir.
Yes, I also don't see Vladimir's face or Radhe.
Oh, there are many people today who wanted to join. So, Vladimir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't see, but I can hear you.
So then should we begin?
We should begin, yes, I guess.
I would like to begin by welcoming all of you who have joined our session. And I feel I should give something of an introduction, hopefully only a few minutes, as to how we are approaching Savitri, and to ask Sri Aurobindo and Mother to be with us, blessing our effort and pouring their grace upon us in our aspiration to go as deeply as possible into Savitri, feeling and beginning to understand the beauty, the music, the magic, and the mantra of this greatest epic ever. Of course, in years to come, with repeated readings, we shall understand Savitri on much higher levels of consciousness. For now, we are all truly just at the beginning. In 1961, after Mother initiated me and gave me an experience that was so powerful, it turned my life around, she then said to me, "You have just begun." In 1961, when I first met Purani, and he gave me his book on Savitri, an approach and a study, I learned something of the Vedic symbolism in many of the lines in Savitri. And today, we are truly blessed to have with us Vladimir Yatsenko, PhD in Sanskrit and an expert in the Vedas, to share his vast knowledge with us. Radhe is also with us, and she is in charge of La Grace, the Sri Aurobindo Center Southeast in South Carolina. If you would like to know of the programs at the center, she will happily reply. I pray to Sri Aurobindo to speak through me, so that nothing of the personal ego may remain. Only his guidance to uplift and enlighten us. I ask you all for a minute of silence and a call to Sri Aurobindo and Mother for their blessing, and an aspiration that we may open in a new way to Savitri with humility and gratitude. After 3 seconds, we are only on page 3, and we can begin again with the line which we ended at our last meeting. All can be done if the God touch is there. We have already learned through centuries of experience that our normal human mind is incapable of making any lasting change towards peace, harmony, and unity in the world. It is only by an immense change in ourselves that the God touch becomes possible. I have experienced that touch in some of the realized disciples of Sri Aurobindo and Mother, Nolini, Aurobindo Basu, Jyoti Priya, Temi, and a number of others. But even they could not do all. The first word in this line, all can be done if the God touch is there. Now, I want to bring out clearly, and we'll read a letter to Jyoti Priya from Mother in Mother's handwriting. Just a second, and I will get that. Somehow I lost it, and we have to get it back. Okay. So here's Mother's letter to Jyoti Priya. I believe it was in the mid-1950s. Mother writes, "For you who have realized your soul and seek the integral yoga, to help the others is the best way of helping yourself. Indeed, if you are sincere, you will soon discover that each of their difficulties, each of their failures, is a sure sign of, I'm reading.
Narad, the thing is, I cannot hear anything in the meeting. I don't have any audio reception. Vladimir has to do something.
I see.
I even messaged him and he reply.
Vladimir, are you hearing that?
Yes, I tried everything. I can see that people have, some people have microphones, others do not have. You, Prema, don't have microphone. I think it is your problem. because the rest of the people have microphones, and please, when you have a microphone, can you mute them when somebody reads, and when you want to say something, you please unmute, because the echo is there. Not all of you have these headsets. So when Narad reads, one can hear the echo, and it is being recorded. And then it's very unpleasant to hear again if you want to revisit this
So
session.
you should be hearing this, Nalisha. You have...
Okay, so what you do is keep the Skype on for now. I'll try to join the meeting again.
Okay.
If I'm able to hear the audio there, fine. Otherwise, I can hear you reading on Skype. So
all right.
It's better that way.
So let me begin again with this letter from Mother to Jyoti Priya. For you who have realized your soul.
Excuse me, Narad, 1 second. Jaya Shri, can you please mute your microphone? Because it gives the echo. You know how to mute it? You click on the microphone line and it will be just muted. I'm opening again. You can see it in the left corner. The mute, unmute. New people who do not know how to deal with Zoom. There is the the icon of the microphone in the left corner. And if you click on it, you will mute it. If you click on it again, you will unmute it. So everybody who comes in should mute the microphone. It would be easier for recording. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you, Vladimir.
Okay, thank you. I'm projecting again. So please, yes, read the letter.
So Mother writes to Jyoti Priya, for you who have realized your soul and seek the integral yoga, to help the others is the best way of helping yourself. Indeed, if you are sincere, you will soon discover that each of their difficulties, each of their failures is a sure sign of a corresponding deficiency in yourself. This proof that something in you is not perfect enough to be all powerful, Mother. So we begin again with this line, all can be done if the God touch is there. Now we should note the word God touch. When Sri Aurobindo hyphenates two words, he creates one word out of it. So God touch becomes one word. Now notice he didn't write God strength, God power, or God force, but God touch. And the next two lines, well, they're all so extraordinary here. A hope stole in that hardly dared to be amid the night's forlorn indifference. Now, stole in is very interesting. It seems that the divine has to surreptitiously come into us at times, and we find this in many cantos of the book. We have, as a thief in the night shall be the covert tread of one who steps unseen into his house. Book 1, Canto 4. And then these magnificent lines. If the chamber's door is even a little ajar, what then can hinder God from stealing in? Or who forbid his kiss on the sleeping soul? Book 10, Canto 4. So, a hope stole in that hardly dared to be amid the night's forlorn indifference. We have a number of definitions for forlorn. It can be sad or lonely because it seems to be deserted or abandoned, could be forsaken or deprived, hopeless, bereft. Well, that's the first 3 lines. Vladimir, can you shed some more light or go to the next section?
Can I ask the question about technicalities still? Do you see the projection of the text? Because some people don't
No, I
see.
don't. No, I don't.
No, I don't see
And
the text.
I'm having to use my book.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
This is a hard time for us.
Yes, it is.
So the technology resists kind of this. Um, all right, I do not know what has happened. Truly speaking, it should be okay.
Well, we've never had it before, so we had to have that experience once.
Okay.
Hopefully not again.
Okay, I will try to again project the text directly. Do you see it now?
No.
No. I do not know what it is. I have no idea how it came to be so. All right. Well, there is not much to say about this. Of course, there is much to say about this, but in this particular state of running for technicalities and trying to make things work.
Yes, I understand.
So it's amid the night's forlorn indifference, I guess. We are just exactly that.
Yes, I guess so. So we could carry on with a few lines. And
Yes.
as if solicited in an alien world, with timid and hazardous instinctive grace, orphaned and driven out to seek a home, an errant marvel with no place to live, into a far-off nook of heaven there came a slow, miraculous gesture's dim appeal. As if solicited in an alien world. Oh. With timid and hazardous grace that is instinctive, and yet orphaned and driven out to seek a home, this errant marvel who has no place to live, what happens? Into a far-off nook of heaven. A nook is a small little area where one can almost hide. Into a far-off nook of heaven there came a slow, miraculous gesture's dim appeal. Vladimir, share some thoughts with us, please.
Well, this is the beginning of this miraculous change, or something as we see that that light which dared didn't know and dared not, but dared to enter into the darkness from beyond, from the transcendental, and it's so beautifully here described as orphaned and driven out to seek a home, which is not really his home yet, but
we will see that later on, yes.
Right, but it will make its home.
Yes.
And so this home, this night of mind of night alone in her unlit temple of eternity, who is there? This is our home. It's actually that Vedic vision of the night, where night is the one who introduces all the beings into this home. She introduces these lights or these stars or the sparks of the fire, these souls who entered into the night, and gives them the home. So, and it's first sense of it is that is alien world. Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is not our world. We came here from elsewhere, from another origin. You can find this in every religion. In the Bible, the same. Adam and Eve were sent away, were from heaven to earth, and earth was their first home, which wasn't their home, as it were, at the beginning, but it became their home later.
Yes.
An
Now,
errant marvel. What a beautiful, this errant marvel.
yes.
Sri Aurobindo always uses these contradictions for the mind. It's contradictory to the mind, yes, but it is exactly how it feels. Yes, it is far beyond mental understanding.
Yes, and we don't exactly know where we are or where we're going.
Right.
And it's only the grace that has enabled this. The persistent thrill of a transfiguring touch persuaded the inert black quietude, and beauty and wonder disturbed the fields of God. This entry of Usha, the dawn, and the light into our lives. This persistent thrill of a transfiguring touch. Actually, I think of Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel and the finger of the divine, just that one finger. The persistent thrill of a transfiguring touch. And it only takes that touch, that God touch, if you will, to persuade this inert black quietude, and therefore beauty and wonder disturbed the fields of God.
By the way, this usage of the touch is also, it's much more concrete than, for example, seeing or hearing or
Yes.
thinking or even word. Word is disturbing the consciousness in some way, but touch is much more concrete and more even physical. It's like from body to body. And in that sense, when Sri Aurobindo describes the effect of the dawn, the Vedic dawn, Usha, he speaks that she brings the illumination into our physical consciousness. It's not the dawn of that kind of, mental illumination somewhere in the mind. It is coming down to the most physical perception of consciousness. So in that sense, it's kind of following the same idea.
And then he says beauty and wonder, and he uses the word disturbed, the fields of God. Well, certainly that movement was a tremendous movement. That persistent thrill, it never gave up. It was continuous.
It's like the dawns, like 33 dawns, 33 sisters. It's like a hue after hue. They are more and more persistent in their light, changing the colors of until the disk of the sun is visible.
Yes, yes. Would anyone like to read the next part?
Whoever has a microphone.
I can read it.
Yeah, please.
Wonderful.
A wandering hand of pale, enchanted light that glowed along a fading moment's brink, fixed with gold panel and opalescent hinge, a gate of dreams ajar on mystery's verge.
So this wandering hand, again, we have this feeling of touch. And so we've had the God touch, we've just had touch above. We have the gestures dim appeal, the transfiguring touch. And now we have the wandering hand of pale, enchanted light. I always feel that enchantment is not so vivid. It's more of a pale light in a very positive sense. And what did that hand do? It fixed with a gold panel and opalescent hinge a gate of dreams, ajar on mystery's verge. These are very complex lines. A gate of dreams, ajar. It's not exactly firmly fixed. It's ajar. It's a little bit off. On mystery's verge, on the verge of mystery. Anyone else would like to comment?
Yeah, this persistent, this hand, which is a finger, in other places he speaks about this luminous finger foul.
Yes.
And it's like some kind of reaching out from the transcendence. That would be that Indra's light or lightning, which is kind of coming from above and bringing that, transcendent, pure perception of things, pure consciousness and force into the midst of our darkened hemisphere. So it's a constant imagery in Savitri. We can.
Yes, it is. Yes, and the dreams. The word dreams is frequently used in Savitri. We were with another student and in the secret knowledge, which but for the dream would not be wholly true. Sri Aurobindo uses dream very often. And here it's a gate of dreams. This is a gate that opens, but it's ajar, and it opens on the edge of mystery, mystery's verge.
Yeah, the dreams are also used in the sense of kind of higher ideals. Mother has this, the dream, so about Auroville. You remember
Yes,
this?
exactly.
And she says that the dream of the Lord is much more powerful than the realities of our own, something like this. I paraphrase. Yeah. So.
And in that book 4, I can read those two lines. For nothing here is utterly what it seems. It is a dream fact vision of a truth, which, but for the dream, would not be wholly true.
Yeah, beautiful. The dream fact vision.
Dream fact.
It's a vision, actually. It's
yes.
Rather than a dream as we understand them, as a sleep or some kind of.
Exactly.
Yeah, because our consciousness is not totally there. Our physical cannot join that higher consciousness totally. That's why we call it a dream, but it is a reality in that higher plane. It's a vision of the truth, which wants to manifest and has no yet means to be totally true here in this lower consciousness.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes, certainly.
I was just thinking that, on line 90, a wandering hand of pale enchanted light.
Yes.
And then linking it to forced the world's blind immensity to sight. So it's as though this hand of pale enchanted light that is glowing and that fixes with gold panel, it kind of pushes the gate of dreams ajar.
Mm.
hand and opens it on mystery's verge, thereby forcing blind immensity to sight. So it's like a hand reaching out and opening the gate, and then the sleeping world wakes up to sight, or the dreaming world wakes up to sight. The new day begins. Would it be an understanding? Because the next line says the darkness failed and slipped like a falling cloak.
Yes. It's a
Can
good.
we use the imagery of the hand like that?
I think that we go back to the God touch again, and
Yes.
God touch, all can be done if the God touch is there.
Sure.
So yes, it's very true. And the fields of God is an interesting phrase. I feel here that Sri Aurobindo is speaking of our earth. And the fields of God are a little bit disturbed by this force of light and power that comes down. And that is with us now, especially with the dawn of the supermind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you.
The darkness failed and slipped like a falling cloak from the reclining body of a god. Oh, what a beautiful image. Sri Aurobindo speaks of this falling cloak or dress when we leave our physical body. And he says we just shed it like a cloak falling off us and go into that world of rest and peace and prepare for the next birth. So here the darkness is failing, but it slips. It doesn't leave immediately. It slips like a falling cloak from the reclining body of a god. God is, it's such beautiful, beautiful poetry. And the rhythm here is so marvelous. The music and the mantra.
I have a question about this word failed here. It has another dimension which I always feel, but I can't really justify. It's
Yeah.
not failed in the sense as usually we fail something.
Oh, no, not at all.
Mm.
Not at all. Failed here just means that
it's nearly fallen or something. It's like it was removed or sort of was getting removed. I do not know, but the sense is very different from failing something.
yes, yes. I think it's sort of let go.
Right. This is
And therefore slipped like a
right.
falling cloak.
It
So,
was not holding anymore to its own, as it were.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And this idea of the night again, because this is the darkness which is holding us, so to say, imprisoned or cloaked. You know, we are in this cloak. We are covered, or we are dressed with. Is also, it's a Vedic imagery, not only in the Veda but also in the Isha Upanishad, when it starts, all this is for habitation by the Lord.
Yes.
So all this world is Vasyam, should be inhabited or should be worn, or how to say, he should wear it as a garment. The world is to be, he has to wear the world as a garment, as the cloak, yeah, and shine through it, because Vasyam has the sense of this world is to be inhabited by the Lord, and or he should wear it as the garment, or he should shine through it with his light. So all three in one root, vas, to shine, to wear, and to dwell in the passive form. So in here we have the same idea that this cloak, this is something he's wearing, as it were, and he is
Or it's the darkness that's wearing this cloak.
the darkness failed and slipped like a falling cloak.
Yeah, it failed.
Darkness is the cloak, and he is wearing it.
Exactly.
And he is rising from this. He's kind of making himself visible more and more through the cloak of darkness.
And
So
then, yes, and then we have the word pallid. I'll look up here because pallid is very interesting here. It's pallid. Pallid is lacking intensity of color or luminousness. It could also be lacking in vitality. So it's a pallid rift. And I think this is important, these next 3 lines, because they bear on just what you were saying. Then, through the pallid rift that seemed at first hardly enough for a trickle from the suns, outpoured the revelation and the flame. And there we are. So as the darkness fails and slips like a falling cloak, through the pallid rift that seemed at first hardly enough for a trickle from the suns, trickle, outpoured the revelation and the flame. Such power here.
It's again the contradiction, trickle and the suns.
Yes.
Yeah, not trickle from the sun, but from the suns.
From the suns, yes. Would anyone like to read the next couple of lines?
I can read it. The brief perpetual sign record above. A glamour from unreached transcendences, iridescent with the glory of the unseen, a message from the unknown.
Did you do a glamour from unreached transcendences?
Yes.
Yes, I'll read that again.
Okay.
Should I read it again?
Surely.
Yes.
The brief perpetual sign record above. A glamour from unreached transcendences, iridescent with the glory of the unseen. A message from the unknown immortal light, ablaze upon creation's quivering edge. Dawn built her aura of magnificent hues and buried its seed of grandeur in the hours.
Now that's for the Vedic scholar. It's a perpetual sign. And Mother has told us that there were 6 pralayas prior to this earthly evolution. And they all went down. She says the 7th will not happen because of the supramental. The brief perpetual sign recurred above. It's above. But a glamour from unreached transcendences, iridescent with the glory of the unseen, and a message from the unknown immortal light that is ablaze upon creation's quivering edge. There, dawn built her aura of magnificent hues and buried its seed of grandeur in the hours. What hope Sri Aurobindo gives us. This brief perpetual sign of the avatar in all the stages of the evolution recurs again from above. And these unreached transcendences that have such a glamour and iridescent, just filled with coruscating colors, with the glory of the unseen, and a message also from the unknown immortal light, capitalized L, ablaze upon creation's quivering edge. Dawn builds there her aura of magnificent hues and buried its seed of grandeur in the hours.
Basically conceives the new possibility of evolution. This also tells us that this avatarhood, or the interference from above, is actually necessary every time to make our, so to say, somnambulist world to
Yes.
grow, to wake up, because otherwise we would never wake up, actually.
And when Mother was asked, where were you in all these early stages of the earth? And she said, I was there every time the possibility of an ascent was possible.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked Sri Aurobindo, what about you? And he very succinctly replied, carrying on the evolution.
Mm-hmm.
The avatar is for us, I think for me especially, the most critical aspect of the evolution. And India has very rightly and correctly defined all the avatars up to Sri Aurobindo. The last avatar is said to be Kalki, who comes riding a white horse. I feel that there's no question that this is Sri Aurobindo, the last avatar. It doesn't mean that the evolution stops. We will evolve from Supermind into Satchidananda, and then higher and higher and higher. This world has to become the dwelling place of the Lord. And to escape it is an error, or at least only a partial realization. Someone wrote to me the other day, does the earth count those who have disappeared consciously into the world never to return again? One has to be in the human body to progress in this evolutionary journey. We should be so grateful. I think that could be enough for today, because we covered many more lines than we usually do. Are there any questions from anyone? There are many, many pages to go in this first canto of the Symbol Dawn. Many pages. Sri Aurobindo will take us through how we have refused many times the divine grace that comes to us. He even says the cross, their payment for the crown they gave. Speaking of the avatars, always have to pay the ultimate price. And yet they leave behind a crown. So let us meet again next Sunday, and we will carry on. Thank you all for being with us. And I'm grateful for all who attend and can together share light on this divine gift of Savitri. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.